You don't see him?
I don't see him yet. Oh, hold on.
Hi, Wayne, I'm here.
I do. I see
Hi,
it.
Robert. All right, well,
My screen is next to you.
let's get started. Welcome everyone to the August meeting of the Permanent Building Committee. We have two major subjects to discuss tonight. The first being the DPW project and the status of that effort. And then after that's concluded, we'll spend some time talking about the senior center feasibility study, where that stands. Let's just jump right in. Robert, I was out at the site today and got a firsthand look at where we're at, but if you could bring the rest of the committee up to what's going on, that would be helpful.
Sure, I'd be glad to. The work that's underway right now is Kingspan panels going up on the staff building, interior work at the staff building. Now that the building is enclosed, we're able to do finish electrical, finish plumbing. Other finishes are getting started there as well. Millwork around the windows, stuff like that. And then on the vehicle service building, I think there's some masonry underway at the base of the wall, where the wall intersects with the grade line. And Kingspan panels will be going up next week, I believe, on that building. There's plumbing underway on the vehicle building, gas piping, water piping. When we were there last week, we reorganized some of the hose bibs, I think, to better serve what really needs to happen in that building. Dave was involved with that. Plumbing was very agreeable. So, I mean, that's, in a nutshell, that's what's happening now. I know everyone's nervous about schedule and will they be able to complete the project on time. Nick and John assure me that they can. I have to trust them on that. I can't really foresee how quickly it's going to move over the next 2 months. But I know the rainy weather has been a bit of a setback while they're trying to do exterior work. All in, I think they, I'll take it on their word that they'll be finished on time.
So let's ask, I'd like to ask that same question to Dave Ramachi. Dave, you're out there every day, you see the effort there. I got the same response that Robert did from John Bolster today. Things are behind schedule, but not in a way that are affecting the overall schedule, according to them. But I'd like to hear it from you. What's your take on how they're doing?
I was questioning John yesterday about the block. My personal opinion is they're going to finish siding the staff building before they're able to get to the mechanics building. That was my concern. That he's not he's not a mover, that guy.
Yeah, the block on the vehicle building seems to be going exceedingly slow, in my opinion. And I want to talk about the grouting. You know, we have an issue to deal with. There's a PCO subject to our consideration tonight regarding that grouting, and I've got some concern about that. And the Kingspan panels seem to be going much slower than I would have expected. They've got about mostly 2 sides done on the vehicle build or on the staff building. I think they're the 2 more complicated sides, but nevertheless, they've still got close to 50% of that building to do, and they've been at it probably what, 2.5-3 weeks now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about that, I spoke at length with the fellow from New England Steel, who is the kind of foreman on the Kingspan erection crew. And he said pretty much what Nick had told you at the meeting, that the staff building with its windows and doors is a more complicated job for the Kingspan panels to fit them around all of those openings than will be for the vehicle service building. And so they really foresee that part of the work going much faster. The stuff they're doing now is the more difficult, the slower stuff. And so I appreciate what you're seeing and saying. I do think the pace will pick up.
Well, certainly what's going on inside the staff building is proceeding well. Walls are up, paint's on the walls, the ceiling grid is in many of the rooms. And I see, Dave, you got your donated casework up against the wall there. Is that all of it?
You're muted, Dave.
Sorry, no, that's not all of it. We have much more upstairs.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Looks like pretty nice stuff. And I guess we're lucky to get that. I assume you'll be customizing that to fit at some point. Are we
Yes.
putting that in after the floor goes in, or are we running the floor up to that?
I think we're going to run the floor up to it because John told me as soon as the ceiling grids were up, I should start installing. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
Wayne, can I make a couple of comments about, I think today was probably one of the most productive days that I've seen in the project so far, from yesterday today to today, even on the staff building. I mean, they've got the whole front, where yesterday they weren't even halfway done with all the white panels. Look like it's almost, I'd say 90% up. I mean, yesterday they didn't have half that up. There's the inside, Dave, you got to let them know. I mean, the cabinets have to be, gonna have to be cut to fit, for handicapped accessibility. So there's going to be that could delay, us getting them installed, because all the bottoms have to be cut out because they have to be handicapped accessible, because they're not handicapped accessible right now. The grading of the parking lot, again, today, from yesterday to today, I mean, they almost got the whole side of the building done. And we all know that the grading's working, which is pretty good. The wall going around the mechanics building, I mean, it's like the Great Wall of China, but I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with the work that the mason's doing on that. It's one of the clearest and finest piece of work that I've seen almost in this entire project being done, as finished work. So I encourage anybody, if they come down tomorrow and take a look at it, go take a look at, this guy's work. But that's not helping us with getting that retaining wall in, and getting the parking lot, paved and getting it ready. I'll bring up one more question that I have that Dave, I noticed today that they're pumping the dewatering from way out in the field into that manhole. Did they give any idea how long that's going to do? Because we don't have a permit to discharge into the pollution district.
Yeah.
We never pulled a permit from that. And if we get caught with that, we may have to put a frac machine in there, just like we did with the at the library, because we don't know what's coming out of the ground. It's not tested. So we got to be very careful with that. I just was there, coming back from the dump just a little while ago, and it's running 24 hours a day, and the ratepayers are paying an awful lot of money to put groundwater, and have it treated. So I think we need to discuss that tomorrow with them, at the meeting. And then just lastly, Robert, I looked at Cardosi's, their billing thing, and I look at it, they say that, total completed and stored to date, and they have 58.27. And I guess I'd ask you and the committee, I look at, are they at 58.27% done? I mean, we're more than halfway. to me, the project doesn't look like it's halfway done yet. But they're billing us for almost more than half of the project cost. So never mind, are we going to come in on time? Are we going to come in on time on the budget? Or are they going to come back to us for, where is all this money going to come from for all the rest of this work that needs to be done?
Well, I think the answer to that, Jim, is we've looked at all of the costs on a line item basis. I think everybody that has looked at it, and I would ask both Dave and John Larkin to comment as well. Rich also looks at it, but he's not here. No one, and Robert, you as well. We've not seen any evidence of them front-end loading this project. I think what they've submitted on a line-by-line basis is what actually is being installed. And
I think you're taking my comment incorrectly, Wayne. I'm asking a question. My question was asked, do you feel that what still needs to be done is going to come in on cost on it? And no one's saying about front loading. We're not accusing anybody or anything, Wayne. I just asked a question. Do we think that the remaining amount of money is going to see this project through? Because if you look at what's out there, this, that staff built the mechanics building, I mean, what's it, 10%? If that, in of completion?
No, I don't agree with that at all. Robert, do you want to comment?
Well, there's a lot in place in the ground, in the foundations, in the concrete, in the steel, the roof. It is far more than 10%, that vehicle building. And I think so. I don't think they're front ending it. And I know you didn't say that, but
I didn't say
to suggest that it's only 10% complete when they've billed for 58%, would suggest that there's some kind of mismatch between billing and building. So as Wayne said, we go over the pay requisitions. We're now at pay requisition number 8. And 1 through 8, we look at it line by line. And it's, initially pay rec number 1, it was a lot of mobilization and excavations and footings. And now, we've been through roofing, we've been through all of that stuff. What remains to be done is what, in the end, you're going to be seeing, final finishes of the exterior and the interior. And admittedly, that stuff is not there. So the optics may suggest the building is far from completion, but in terms of the systems that have been installed, there's a lot of work that's in place. So that's just to answer where the progress of building is compared to the progress of billing. The only way that they will get more money to finish the building would be if there are significant change orders proposed and approved that would increase the contract price. They're building this on a contract with a fixed price that changes only when we approve, when you, as the permanent building committee, approve change orders. So there won't be any changes because they have to hurry up in these final 2 months to complete the building. There won't be change orders for extended general conditions, or anything like that.
Yeah, so that was the other part of my concern, Robert, is making sure, not knowing Cardozi from anybody, whether or not there would be change orders for additional time. And that's why I keep asking the question, because they're locked into a fixed price contract unless there are changes that this committee approves. The other being that there's a change order for cost related to extended time. And that's why we keep asking the question, are you going to make your November 15th date? And they assure us that they will. So, and I don't see anything on the critical path that would suggest to us that that's not the case. The issues relating to site work, John Bolster told me today, AO was out there working. They're the ones who did a lot of the cut and fill work on the front and the side of the building. They were to begin dewatering today in order to start excavation. I guess the box is going to arrive tomorrow for beginning the excavation. They wanted to start dewatering in order to be able to start making that final sewer connection. And I thought they said that effort would start tomorrow and go into next week. And that was like they felt that they could do it in a 3 to 4 day period of time.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Jim?
It definitely, the cost does. I was just asking a question. I mean, it seems like when you ask a question, people put words in your mouth, and that definitely was not like, it was just an easy question.
Yeah.
They have down at 58.27% completion. And if you look at what's still out there, there's still an awful lot more work that needs to get done. And you answered my question that they're not going to come in, and if they have to, that's fine. It was just a question.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that's out there, and it hasn't come up from Cardozi, but we've had the rainiest July on record. We're enduring the rainiest August, I think, on record, or near rainiest. If this continues, and they're unable to, move at the speed they hope, there could be weather claims. They haven't mentioned that at all, and I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, but if we continue to get hit with lots and lots of rain requiring dewatering and all of that stuff, there's a risk there. I can't quantify it at all, but it's.
But Robert, I would ask, it would seem to me that given the site work that's already in place and the condition of the buildings, that even with inclement weather, certain work can and will proceed. It would have to be monsoon type weather, I would think, that would preclude some of the work. But certainly the staff building, that work can almost continue regardless.
Yeah,
of the
it's the
weather.
vehicle building that is still open.
And the remaining site work.
Yeah.
So there are a couple issues that I think we'll talk about tomorrow morning at the weekly construction meeting. I understand there is an RFI regarding structural support for overhead doors on the vehicle building. I think they're waiting for an answer on that. There were some hose connections or plumbing connections for the wash bay, I guess, to be installed. Dave, that was something that we just discovered. Your machinery or whatever your equipment is, has that been worked out, that we know where that is going to go? Okay, yeah. Good. And I'm trying to think what's and then, well, and tonight we're going to still talk about the issue that Jim alluded to, the masonry work around the vehicle building. It is beautiful. It's work that is never going to be seen by anybody, but it is certainly excellent work. The concern that I have is we have a PCO for grout filling the cavities of concrete block for $4,600, and I believe that's a T&M. We're doing that on a slip, which seems to be an exorbitant cost, in my opinion, for 2 courses of block, when all of that cost could have been averted if we had used solid block. And so I wanted to at least alert the committee. I'm not sure that we need to decide tonight. But I'd like to get Dave's take on whether we're actually going to spend that amount of money. There's probably some trade-off in terms of what kind of block was available and what the cost might have been. But at $4,600, that seems exceedingly high. Now, Dave Bolster did send me or showed me a 1 weekly slip for like 4 hours and a very nominal amount of material. And so I'm not sure how we get at that rate up to the total price. So with that, I'm going to kind of throw it over to you, Dave, and ask your impression about what to do with it.
My personal opinion is from day one when they installed the temporary one on the water building, I told and suggested them to use solid block on the bottom, even before they decided to use the metal. I thought that would have almost taken care of the whole issue. But he said somehow the block wasn't available or something, but that was months ago. So my personal opinion is they could have got it. I have been watching him, and he hasn't put that many hours in it. He just started a week ago, and that first course was down in almost 2.5 days, and he didn't put in full days. So I don't see that price at all. And they didn't ask me to sign any paperwork.
So just to clarify, there in that PCO, there are two components. One is a lump sum $3,700 for grouting the hollow core masonry. And then there's an additional T&M slip for additional grouting. And so the first one, $3,700. The second one is, I think, $450, which brings the masons total up to $4,150 or something. And then there's the added costs that Cardosi is allowed to add per contract to subcontractors. That brings it up to the number that I think it's 45 something. So it's not all T&M. Part of that $3,700 is a fixed price that the mason has given to Cardosi.
I need to better understand that before I think we put that to the committee for a vote to consider. So I'm not sure I'd like the rest of the committee to opine here, but I think we need to have more of a discussion about that tomorrow, because it's my understanding was the same as Dave's. We're fixing a problem that could have been avoided totally at the outset, and I'm not sure at what cost. If it was a nominal cost and it was for expediting the project, getting some block if we needed it at that particular time, I would have been much more amenable to considering it. But it's a bigger number, it's much later, and I'm not sure why it's falling on our plate at this point.
Do we know, Wayne, what was quoted in the contract?
They own this block. This is in addition to the project. So,
But does it say solid block, or do we not know?
The specifications, the drawings show hollow core masonry, and the notes say solid, but the drawings show hollow. It was discussed, as Dave mentioned, when the mock-up was being done. So there was time to make a change. I don't know why a change was not made by the mason.
Robert, do you know if there's a cost difference between the solid and the hollow?
Yeah, solid is more expensive. It's got more material in it because it's heavier. It's a little more labor to put in place.
I mean, if there's a difference in the spec one saying solid, another one saying hollow. I would think the contractor would then, if he's using hollow block, it's got to be solid, so that means fill it in.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah, you're right. But the drawings clearly indicate hollow core masonry. And it's, the
That's the
masons
operating procedure on a concrete block wall like that you're gonna fill it in.
below grade, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert, if hollow was specified, why does the mason feel like he has to fill it in? Is that what you and John just said? Because it's below grade?
Yeah, it's below grade. It could fill with water and freeze and crack. That's the reason why it would be filled. I'm surprised a lot by the number. It's
At
something
any
I'd like
rate,
to find out more about.
I would agree with Wayne. I mean, we're talking 2 courses around the entire building, right?
Roughly, it steps up a bit on the back where the grade steps up.
Yeah.
But then they also have a number for grouting solid the top course of masonry. And I don't agree with that. I don't understand why they think they need to do that.
Are you coming tomorrow?
I can't, no. I'm picking up my daughter at the airport. She's flying in and it conflicts with all of this. So Conrad will be there tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll get an answer tomorrow, and I'll shoot a message to the rest of the committee if there's some action that we need to take in order for this work to continue. I think if it is at a nominal cost, I think we've been comfortable in having Dave sign slips. I'm a little concerned, Dave, that we've been at this with Cardozi for a while. I don't want to get sloppy about it. If there's a slip that they have, you should be signing it, and it should be submitted to you on a daily basis. So let's deal with that procedural issue to make sure that as we get to the near the end of the project, that we're not shortcutting the process.
Wayne, John Bolster has signed those slips that I saw.
No, I understand, but
He's Cardozi, not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, Bolster is the one who showed me, and John, I think, is an asset to the project. He's been very forthright about his own personal view about what's right and wrong about the project. But T&M work requires both John and Dave to sign on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So let's cover that tomorrow.
Yeah. Just as a point of reference, excuse me, the scheduled value for masonry is $25,000. So the proposed change order of, call it $4,500, represents about 20% of the overall scheduled value of the masonry, maybe 18%.
Can't be 20% of his work.
No, it can't be.
No.
I think we need to work this one over a little bit before it settles down.
Good. So we're working on the final sewer connection, I think starting actually today with the dewatering, and with our excavation box arriving tomorrow. I think they'll start, I think they said that they wanted that placed by Friday.
Yeah. There's 2-week look ahead that Nick sent in this afternoon shows that work being done by mid next week, Wednesday, Thursday.
Good. Well, that'll be a big issue to get in place. And then I think the rest of that cut and fill and all that grading in front can proceed and make a big difference. So I'm anxious to see that completed as well. I guess they're gonna be working on the sidewalks and that, the front aprons to the, existing building. That back apron pour looks pretty nice. Dave and Jim, what's your thought about, how that work was completed?
I
I
mean,
think
did
it's
a
fine.
good job.
Yeah, absolutely, a perfect job.
Okay, great, great. Well, I would expect no less in the front. So I think the work that is getting installed is a very good quality.
Where do we stand with the paving?
I actually talked to the paver. He's okay. He knows he owes us 900 tons. Well, we owe him, but he'll come back whenever we're ready. He's amenable to. We just put a bid out for second phase of paving that hopefully we'll see what comes back in tomorrow. If he gets the bid, he'll do both of them at the same time.
Great, okay.
So Jim, I wanted to talk about that in relation to Diane had asked a question earlier as to whether or not we're going to talk about the budget. I don't want to jump ahead to that, but and I want to go through it, but we've got a price from him for doing the binder coat for $85,000 for this work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
It's 12,000 and that's a 10% contingency. So
Right.
Dave and I went over with him and he's very comfortable that he can get it done at that price.
All right. So, and we have, I think, 140 some thousand dollars
Completed.
in the line item there. Not that that is in stone, but we've got 140 some thousand dollars for that cost, which would include the top coat as well, which we would do next year.
Under the next year.
So, not being able to predict what the price of asphalt will be, we might be short on that number, but it looks like we're still in the ballpark. Would you agree?
I would agree. Dave, you agree also,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yep.
Good. So, where else are we on the project? Schedule, we've talked about. I think we've talked about the major issues that need to be addressed. Couple of items to work through, which is not unusual. But it has seemed to me like these are kind of the dog days of summer and things have kind of just poked along for like a month now. But actually work is getting done. And we've not seen the getting out of the ground progress that we might have otherwise expected. But the work is getting done, and I don't see any reason why it can't get done by November 15th. Okay. If there's nothing else to talk about in general, then let's talk about change orders. Kim, what do we have?
I just have to unmute myself. So we have, I'm just going to share. Well, I saw the potential change order and then the change order 7, which included the 2 from last week. So do we need to reapprove that with the exact amount for change order 7? No.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so let me see.
We've got Jim's quotes from MassCore for the furnishings.
Oh, right. And then this grout share is what we just talked about, right?
Right. So we're going to defer that.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that, and then I'll go to the quotes that that Jim sent around.
Correct.
On the quote that he gave us for the panels, was that approved? I mean, he said he took off that. Did he deduct the lift? They didn't rent one.
Correct.
Oh, so he did deduct that. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Price came down.
Good.
And we approved it as a not to exceed.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so there were 2 quotes, and Jim, I don't know if you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, they're self-explanatory. We had them come out. That's their basic furniture. There's a desk, a filing cabinet, and a workstation. that would be for each office. That would be like a drafting type table. Outside in the staff room, there's some things that we have to maybe reconfigure. They gave us a price for under the TV. I can show everybody tomorrow. We're going to put up 2 workstations there. And that's just a long table with 2 filing cabinets, because we still have to put the SCADA control computer somewhere. I don't envision us putting couches in that area. I don't think we ever had any, thought we were going to put couches in there. In the locker room, there's a chair. A bench, because there was not one, quoted in the price. They don't have to supply that. And it's almost going to mimic exactly what they're building for the men's room and the ladies' room. The big table, I think that's it's exactly what we have in the room right now, same size. They're going to replicate that. And I believe that total quote came to $9,747.47. And the chairs, we got a quote, and unfortunately, there's that many chairs. I got one for Dave's office and one for the water and sewer superintendent's office, so they didn't have to take theirs out into the lunchroom. We did get 1 chair for the mechanic out in the back there, and I think that's a total of 14 chairs, 13. Oh, and 6 stackable chairs. I don't know if we have to have them, but there's 6 stackable iron chairs. And that quote came to $3,660.11. These are the breathable chairs. And I think if you look at the ones that are in the select board office, those were $200 and something a piece. And I think they use them in the fire station. These, I think, are a much higher, not a higher quality. They're, you know what breathable chairs are. They're heavy duty. They're used across the state. They're in every state office, from the registry to the state house. All this stuff is, used in almost all the courtrooms and everything else. So they're not junk. They're heavy duty.
Yeah.
The 2 in the offices are a little better. They're more executive. We don't have to get them. We can cut them down. But they are cheaper than what we'll put in the select board's room. I think those are $200. These, if you look at it, they're $175 a piece. And there's 13 of them, because there's 13 guys. 13 guys, they have lunch between 12 and 12:30. That's the way the DPW is set up. They don't get breaks at different times. They have their break and lunch, everybody at the same time. So we're going to have one guy sit on the toilet, have his lunch. So that's why, I did ask for, that many chairs. I don't know I just don't know how much this compares to anything else. I did look at WB Mason. I looked at the desks. Just the desk alone was like the price of almost the whole credenza, the L-shaped type desk that, they're building.
Jim, you said you wanted a place for the SCADA system. Is
Yep.
there some sort of a control panel beyond what's going to be in the equipment room?
No, there's already a jack there that it's just going to be, it'll be through the Wi-Fi. It's all connected. It's the computer that's in the office area right now that has to go somewhere, because people that's operated 24 hours, 7 days a week, and people, use that station every day.
From a security perspective, is it secure where it's going to be?
Yes, absolutely. There's a sign-on password. Everybody has their own, specific password. It's just
Okay.
not on. Yep.
So if
Really?
somebody walks out with the computer, they're not going to get anything.
They're not going to get nothing. No.
Okay.
So in terms of the chairs, that quote, Jim, it doesn't include anything for the bus.
Nothing.
No.
All right.
Nothing.
I think that was a question that we had in relation to the stackable chairs. This is what you feel you need?
Yes.
Then I would certainly entertain an motion to have the committee approve this proposal as submitted.
Wayne, can I ask a question before we do that?
Right.
I agree that I'm glad to hear that we're not buying furniture for the bus people. Just briefly, we talked about where they were going to be, or they might be there during storm or whatever. what are they gonna sit on?
I can answer that. I've spoken with Terry Wigan. I told him that he had to provide the wireless access point if they needed it, any computers, all of that stuff, a desk for the transportation coordinator. And I have since gone to him in writing because he's homesick and said, we're not doing anything, no chairs, no nothing. So you'll have to provide those either from your inventory of spare stuff or you have to order them. And that's basically what I've told him, and he was perfectly amenable to, buying whatever they needed for the room.
And I'll definitely share this with them. I mean, they can, I'm sure that they can order from this because it is a state bid, so.
Yep.
Well,
Let me ask it slightly differently, which would be, okay, there's the room, you furnish it however you want. I'm not sure that we should, I think we should have final approval on whatever they decide to do. I guess that's where I'm coming from.
And
They can pay for it and they can set it up, but we're gonna have to approve it. I believe that's what we should do. It's our building. We're letting them use it. And I don't want something in there that we feel is not appropriate or compatible with the rest of the building.
I am fine with that, Jim. I would just simply tell you that now that the walls are up and painted and the ceiling grid is starting to be installed, it's a small room. There's not a lot for them to do that would be to screw things up. If they have a desk in there and a chair, and maybe, I don't think there's even room for like a table to have lunch or whatever, unless it was up against a wall. It's a narrow room. There's room for a desk and a chair and a table. There's a bathroom in there and maybe some chairs to sit down, and that's it. So we can certainly, Diane, I don't know if you want to communicate with Terry and have him let us know what he intends to do. But their ability to move things in there, it's really, it's minimal.
Well, he
Well,
was, go ahead, Jim.
Well, I guess the principle I'm trying to get here is we're accommodating them by allowing them to use the room. We're asking them if they want to put any furnishings in there to pay for the room. But the DPW and Jim McKay and the team owns the room. So it's a very simple, tell us what you're going to put in there, show us the picture, and we say that's fine with us. And then I'm happy.
Okay. Diane, you've been speaking with Terry. Do you want to communicate this or shall I?
No, I will, but
Yeah, sure.
he has to come back to work first. He's been out for a few days.
All right, well, we can certainly tell them what our expectations are.
Yep, I already have to some extent.
Yes, she most definitely has.
Yep,
Okay. Again, I think Jim needs to look at it. That's all.
yep.
And honestly, I think the room, I don't know, since the walls are up, I think it looks bigger than I ever thought it was going to be. So,
Well,
big enough. They want a bathroom for the bus drivers to go, and that's just what they got. And good luck to them.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So did somebody make a motion?
Oh, no. I make a motion that we accept the 2 furniture quotes in the amount of $97.47 and 47 cents for tables and occasional desks, and $3,660 and 11 cents for all the rest, chairs.
second,
Payable to Mass Corps, sorry.
second,
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Because we are back on Zoom, we'll do this by roll call. Diane Germain, how do you vote?
Aye.
John Larkin?
aye,
Who am I missing here?
Jeffrey,
Jim McCaffrey,
Aye.
Wayne Clocko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Wayne, do you sign this or does Mike Kaczynski sign this?
Mike is the chief procurement officer and he's been signing everything.
Okay,
So
great. Okay.
have him sign those, that would be great.
Jim, have you asked them whether they can get it to us by mid-November?
Of course, they said if we get the order tomorrow, then there's better chance that we get it. So I'll definitely nail that down. Yes.
Okay,
Gotta keep the prisoners busy.
good.
Okay. We have a Cardozi monthly rec to consider. Kim, can you put
Yes,
that
we
up
do.
on
Yep,
the
I will do
screen?
that. So here, let me just go down to the actual, I'll turn it around so you can read it. There it is. 186,500 or 186,542.95.
And this has been reviewed by Dave, John, Rich, Jim. I think certainly sent it to you. Any questions or concerns since your initial review?
I'm all set.
All right, Robert, you feel this is in order?
I do. I would. That's why I signed it.
All right. I would just mention here, one of the other points raised at my site visit today is that Greenwood has been non-communicative about fixing the standing seam metal roof. So I think it's prudent for us to continue withholding any additional cost for them. I'm hoping that maybe they're involved in some of these summer slammer projects and that after the start of the school year, we'll see them on site and they'll fix the roof. But I think until that time, it's prudent for us to not pay them any additional funds.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. That being the case, I will make a motion that we pay Cardozi their monthly requisition in the amount of $186,542.95.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Jim McCaffrey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Diane Germain,
aye.
John Larkin,
Aye.
and Clocko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Great.
You should have a bill from Taylor and Burns. And this bill includes their monthly invoice for basic services, and then there's a addition for extra services. Robert, you want to talk about that?
Yep, sorry, had to unmute myself. The extra services are for services provided by CDW, a consultant to SGH Civil, for some of their work in related to permitting. If you scroll down, Kim, to the follow-on pages, that is itemized.
I think they're at the end, Kim.
At the very end.
They're highlighted in yellow.
Yep.
CDW consultants, and then below this page, or following the SGH, comes CDW's. Yeah, you can keep scrolling.
Killing us with paper, Robert.
It's not me, it's these sub-consultants. There we go. You have it right there.
Right. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, one more page. There we have it. soil sampling and pre-characterization regarding the soil disposal for soils removed from the site, and various testing, people's time. This was all itemized in the original proposal as stuff that might be required as additional services, and it fits within the
So
Con-
this is 3 months worth of charges, Robert. Do you know if this concludes their work?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that question. I could ask.
Yeah, would you please?
I will. Yeah.
Does this include all the time for the change order for the sewer connection?
No, there's no time on this for extras from Simpson, Gumpert's, Hager, Civil. This has nothing to do with that.
Have you had any discussion with them about that?
No, I think that they made right on what was, what needed to be done in terms of the drawings and getting the information to the contractor. And I think they know where you stand relative to their request for extra services previously.
Good.
So I don't expect to hear anything from them.
Good.
I'd be stunned if they did come back, but
All right, well,
I've been stunned before though.
let's not poke the bear. We'll just let it go then.
Yeah.
All right, great. Do we have a motion to approve this invoice?
We get the amount. Yep. I make a motion to pay Taylor and Burns current invoice for a period from when to when? Is it a month, Robert?
Should be, is this June?
Muted again. July.
July.
Okay,
Although
So
the
I make a
additional
mo-
services go back to April. The CDW charges are from
Yeah.
April.
okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve payment to Taylor and Burns in the amount of $13,700 for work from April to July.
Second,
And
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Jim McCaffrey,
I,
Diane Germain,
Aye.
John Larkin,
aye,
and Clarko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. What else do we have, Kim?
We have some minutes from August 10th.
I will request that we approve the minutes of the August 10th meeting as submitted.
Second,
Mr. McCaffrey, I'm sure you've read those minutes.
say, look very nice to me.
me too. I read them.
Any further discussion? All right. Jim McCaffrey, how do you vote?
I,
Diane Germain,
Aye.
John Larkin,
aye,
Wayne Clarko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Great.
All right, does that conclude our discussion regarding the DPW project?
Anybody coming tomorrow? I told Wayne that we have to wear masks, even in the building.
Yes,
From
good,
the select board's new,
good point.
Yeah, I'm expecting that we'll be able to meet, hopefully if it's not too hot out in the fresh air, but
Sure.
yeah, bring your mask.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, certainly would bid adieu to the DPW folks if they,
thank you.
and Robert Taylor, if they want to stay, they're more than welcome, but if you'd like to get on with the rest of your evening, please do so.
all right, have a good night.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Hi,
Thank
Dave.
you.
For the invitation, but I'll decline. See you soon.
Kim, thanks for the
Bye.
bottle of water yesterday.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Good night, guys.
All right, good night.
I thought Robert's background was one of those Zoom backgrounds and somebody walked through it, like the architect Zoom background. Like
If
Peter
some-
does.
If somebody walks through one of Pete Germain's backgrounds, then you got to worry.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it was like Pete's, except I thought, you Google generic architect office, this comes up, used it.
Hmm.
They need a live person. That's a hell of a feature.
Yeah. How did they do that?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the senior center feasibility study project. I think everybody on this call, save John Larkin. Let me look here and see who else is here. We're all at that meeting. And we left the meeting with the idea that more work needed to be done, particularly on the part of the rec department, in getting their programming both current and aspirational, but then having that be the background for the working group, not the large group that we met with on, what was it, the 17th, I believe.
Yeah.
There that be the basis for sitting down and really doing the kind of the fine point. What would we like to do with a new building? How would a building, any facility, whether or not it's seniors alone, affect the rec folks and or the library folks, or combined? What those groups would like to have in it as well. I think all those points need to be kind of, really worked out, so that we get an understanding of what those groups' constituents want, and so that we're focused on, when we go out to the community, that we're asking the right questions. And there was a discussion after the meeting with Jim McCaffrey and I, and to a lesser extent Diane, about whether or not what role our architect Abacus ought to have in that process. And so that's kind of where we're at. Throw it open for discussion as to where you think we are, and what else needs to be done in order to keep this process moving.
I think I can tell you what we have to date. We had some information from the library about current programming. We had nothing from rec. Chris Fogarty has come back from vacation on Monday and responded with some brochures. And then I think on Tuesday, she sent an Excel spreadsheet out of her sportsman's program, which breaks down attendance, the type of offering, how much revenue she made on it, and the age groups. And that's good information. It was from 2019, which is what I asked her for because it's pre-COVID. Then yesterday I spoke with Mike Kaczynski after having some discussion with Jim McCaffrey, and I explained to him what we meant by aspirational in just easy terms, and said, when you talk to Chris Fogarty, you might want to talk to Kim Tolson or Wendy Barry. He said he would. He's targeting to have that information next week for us. Then we'll take a look at it and decide whether it's what we want.
So do you feel that we're on track to have the next scheduled working group meeting?
I do. It's not till the middle of September, but yes.
Jim, what's your thought?
And if we can get the meeting, if we are ready to have the meeting,
Right.
if we get the information you need from Mike, I would think.
Okay.
Do it on Zoom with that big group of people.
Yep.
Well, I think that's one of the points. I don't think we necessarily need to have that big group of people anymore. I don't intend personally to attend. We had the permanent building committee has designated Diane and Jim to represent us to be the working group. So I think it's time for them to roll their sleeves up and get into the weeds with the other group's designated members.
I would like to attend that. So as part of the working group, I'll check with the select board to make sure it's not going to be a posted meeting, because we don't want it to become a select board meeting. But if it's only one of us going, I'm going to talk to them to see if I can continue on in the liaison role. But I will not attend if others want to attend, to avoid it becoming a select board meeting and keep it a working group.
Okay. Jim, what do you think?
I think that, first of all, I'm going to start my comments by simply referring to the spreadsheet that was provided by the rec department on the programs that they had offered in 2019, which again, as was indicated by Diane, it's pretty comprehensive. It really gives you a good sense of what they've been providing. And it, to me, is sort of the first component of what you'd look for. Because just because I have a list of programs, I need to be able to translate those programs right into a facility. So what facilities do you need to offer those programs? And that's not included in the spreadsheet. I'm not sure that was what was asked for, but there's a whole bunch of things that are in there. And if we're going to provide those kind of programs, even to continue to do them, what kind of facility is it best suited to provide them? And if you look at it, of course, it includes a gym, it includes indoor and outdoor pickleball courts, it includes other programs that use the gym. So it becomes clearer that what the recreation department needs to be successful is at some space. I'd like them to go back and say, okay, just, I don't have to figure it out. You tell me what kind of space you need for that. And then you tell me what kind of overlapping times they might be. In other words, if you need 2 of these rooms on a Thursday, we need to know that. So that to me is kind of where this is going. And I think if we get that, we're much further along to say, okay, what's the implication for rec if seniors move out, or if we rehab the building to provide facilities for both. I think that this is the kind of thing that I'm hoping that by having the town administrator directly involved with the department heads, we'll get some traction on that. That brings us to the next question that Wayne raised at our meeting, which I think was the one area in particular that we found really needs some more work, is not just what did you do in 19, what do you think you should do? What's the aspirational goal for the 3 functions that we talked about: library, seniors, and recreation. So that also will then lead us to, okay, we want to be able to provide whatever it is, and this is the kind of facility we would need to do that. Or a room we'd need, or we need a designated room, or we need a multi-purpose room or something. And that's what I'm hoping we will get out of this by taking the raw materials and then translating them into something that at least we begin to see from a programmatic point of view, what kind of physical space would accommodate that. Not to say that we're going to do it. There is the proverbial, we should have a pool, apparently. I don't know whether that was said in jest or whatever. It would be great to have a full swimming program in the town of Millis. Put another piece of
$3 million
paper
onto whatever building you're going to build. I'll tell you that.
Well,
that doesn't get you a good one.
Yeah, put it down. And the fact that is not necessarily a practical solution is fine. But don't come to me after I've given you this, the proposal and say, oops, well, how come there's no pool?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I saw this as a step forward. My view is that we're asking the town administration to get engaged in this a little bit more, in a little bit more directive fashion. And that to me is what I'm looking for, and hopefully we'll get some of that by the time this group of folks from our team, as well as the administration of the town, and that's what I'm looking for them to try and put together.
Jim, I think you'll see if indeed things are delivered next week, as Mike
Yeah.
Kaczynski said they would, I think we'll have a better idea of what needs propping up, what's good, what isn't good.
Right.
We can take a look at it. And then I think
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think that, I agree with that. I think there was some progress made since we sat down on the 14th.
Yes.
So
So,
that's a good thing. So that's a good
yeah.
thing.
So should we be communicating with Abacus to at least save the date? Or do you think their presence would be helpful in the next meeting or not?
I'm undecided.
I'd like to see what comes back from Mike first before we go down that road, because I don't want to waste their time, but I also think having a third-party arbitrator who's done this in the past could facilitate it if we have enough to require facilitation. Let's phrase it that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I agree on both your comments, Craig. It may be easier for people to talk to a third party. My past experience with issues like this is sometimes turf, and the way we've always done things tends to influence people's opinions. So maybe that facilitator would help. But you're right. We need to have the details. We need to have a good starting point, and we need the town administration on board as an energetic supporter of the effort, whether or not we're going forward or not. Certainly the analysis, they need to be fully engaged with assisting us in getting that information.
I guess just to restate a little bit better, if we're ready for a facilitator, I think a facilitator would be great to have. But I just want to make sure we're at the point where where they can do something for us by being there.
agreed.
Yeah, that's.
So
I think that when I talked with Mike Kaczynski a couple of days ago, he was much more engaged in this than I had expected, and was willing to jump in and go looking for this input.
Yeah.
From both rec and the library. And I'm, can't ask for more than that. We'll see what happens.
Jim, you concur?
Well, I didn't talk to Mike, but I think, yes, I think that we're moving in the right direction in terms of getting something concrete to look at, within the next, it's now 3 weeks. And what I saw, of course, was the beginning. What I'd like to see is a little bit further along on the trail.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I will tell you, he has some reservations about what role the seniors will play in this.
I think,
I'm sorry, Diane, in what regard? You mean champion it or facilitate or participating, or what's your?
Being open to the participation.
Okay.
I mean, my sense is that they still want to have their shiny little building all to themselves. That's not the way they started, but then they changed what they wanted to do and where they wanted to be. And I don't know how open they'll be to that yet.
okay, but remember that where we're at in the process is still the information gathering process. And frankly, I think they've done a good job, and they're much further along, and they've given us everything that we can expect from them in that regard. And now it's a question of having those other two groups provide their information so that we can go out to the voters and find out, because it's not the library's decision. It's not the rec's decision. It's not the Council on Aging's decision. It's the voters' decision.
Right.
And we haven't asked them yet. We're still trying to put something with some meat on the table for the voters to consider.
Yeah.
So I think, any predisposition as to, what this building ought to look like is premature.
Yeah, and I think that the way we did it with the Clyde Brown, where we had a few straw man concepts out there with some different designs and different ideas. I mean, it could, just thinking out loud on it, could be as simple as one design is senior only. That's all it is. The other one is a full blown community center. So what kind of responses we get. And and then flesh out what that means and include the pool for Jim. But well, I can get you an aquatics director cheap. I might retire and do it.
Anything else that we need to do in the interim then?
I don't think so until we see what comes back next week.
Yeah, I think that's the key point.
All right.
I would give the consultant the heads up that we
May.
need them, and we can flesh that out like early next week, as soon as we get the information. If it looks like we've got enough to even start proceeding down that path, if people have taken it seriously enough to provide the right information, then it might be useful to have them there. But if we don't have anything except a waste of their time, more of the hypotheticals and that, then it may not be good to have them.
Okay.
Wayne,
Well-
where do we stand with Abacus? I mean, money-wise, do we owe them money, or do we owe them money? Do they owe us time?
The latter.
Excellent question, John. This effort was actually paid through a grant from the state that in order to get fully reimbursed had to be paid in advance. So they've been paid in full. They owe us time.
Okay,
So I'd say that the ball is in your court, Jim and Diane. Keep
Yep.
holding people's feet to the fire. Let's get the information we need. It's disappointing that with the coronavirus, we're back into social distancing again, but I'm hopeful that we'll get out of that because I think that's a detriment to the outreach to the voters. But we still have work to do in the interim. So, and I'm not sure if this next step will be better served or not with doing it by Zoom. But nevertheless, we need to keep going.
Yeah, and there still is the opportunity to meet in person. It just means you have to have a large enough room and wear masks. I mean, if we did want to do that focus group, if there was a way, it requires more creativity. I don't think the focus group works over Zoom. Our next meeting can certainly work over Zoom, but I think that if we had a large enough room, like the gym in the Memorial Building or the gym at Clyde Brown or something, you could really space it out and require masking. You might be able to, I think you probably would be able to do a in-person focus group like we did with the library, where there is that interactive feel. It'd have to be laid out properly and done properly, but I think it could work.
Okay, agree. All right. Any other comments? Anything else we need to consider tonight?
We just pick our next meeting date.
Okay. Once again, I need to be able to get to my screen here. So
I'm good with Wednesdays now. Mondays are bad.
how about, you said Wednesdays are bad,
No,
Craig?
Mondays are bad, Wednesdays are good. So
How about the 22nd of September?
check my work calendar.
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry, I had something on the calendar that's been changed.
I look like I'm okay too.
John and Jim?
I'm good with that.
I assume this is going to be a Zoom, right?
I think so, Jim.
So I could probably do it. If it's not a Zoom, I won't be available in Millis.
All right.
Lucky you.
Well,
Maybe.
Well, in October, I'm hoping that I won't be available. I'm floating down the Danube River, so
oh my goodness.
that remains to be seen. But I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
All your plans may get canceled.
I sure hope not. Because I'm not sure I can outlive this thing if I keep moving
I
this
know.
cruise out. All
It
right,
does seem to go on and on and on.
yeah, unfortunately. All right, so September 22nd is our next meeting date. By Zoom, 7 PM.
Perfect.
Anything else for the committee?
Will you send out the budget stuff? I forgot to go over it.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to take off though. I'll see you guys later. It's been a pleasure.
good night, Craig.
Bye.
I have the budget. I apologize for not talking about it
Yeah, I
earlier.
forgot about it too, but that's all right.
We certainly can. Do you want to spend a minute just going over it quickly?
No, because I haven't seen it. I'd like
right,
to
let-
look at it first,
all
I
right.
think.
Then I will forward it to the rest of the committee. The Cardozi cost is the cost. I'm not sure where Jim's comment, though he seemed to take issue with my characterization of it, that we could be 56% ahead when we're only 10% complete. It's just, that's not correct. The risk in plan, if you will, from my perspective, is phase 3. And we talked about the major component of that, which is paving. We have $147,000 in the budget for that. And we're committed to spend with a contingency, a 10% contingency this year, 85,000 of that. So, we might be short to some degree, but we have a contingency for design of $30,000. We have a contingency, a construction contingency from Cardozi of $272,000. We have a phase 1 and phase 3 contingency of $177,000. Some of that is by virtue of the fact that we had to execute this contract with if you recall, the entire amount for removing contaminated soil at the beginning. Obviously, that was not the case. So that has certainly given us some room to consider, some other unexpected costs. But we have certainly some room to move if need be.
Okay,
And
that's good.
And I think Dave Romaci is very reluctant to spend money if he doesn't have to. He's doing a lot of this work on his own and just getting it done and within the current, his current payroll. We haven't seen slips for additional payroll from his staff. So I'm feeling pretty good about his ability to control costs in phase 3.
I will tell you that Jim was very excited to see the cabinets. For those of you who don't know, the cabinets were given to us by Rich Nichols.
Well,
Correct?
they were given to us by Rich Nichols because they came out of a house of somebody that he's remodeling in Weston,
Right.
who was going to throw them in the dumpster.
Right. I mean, why not?
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. And I looked at them today, and they look like they're going to be very suitable.
Good.
So, yep.
Okay.
All right.
Wayne, just a comment on Jim McKay's comment about that budget situation.
Yep.
You just mentioned, I think, paving number of around 147,000.
Right.
Well, there's certain things that take place, as you know, in construction, where a lot of things take place, small things that nobody sees. And then when that paving takes place, 147 is a small percentage of the overall budget, but it's going to look like 30% of the job.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You know that, and I know that, and I expected that Jim knew that. So again, I'm still
I don't think so.
surprised by his comment. But nevertheless, he seemed to be satisfied with the response, and
I think so.
I think that's
Yeah.
enough said. All right. Well, unless anybody else has something to consider, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a
I
motion.
move we
to
adjourn.
Okay,
The
everybody's in favor. I'll
The
second what Mr. McCaffrey said.
hesitation was pretty telling there. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
You
All right.
bet.
See you tomorrow.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kim.